WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from Old Pulteney. You would think this is not that rare and exotic, but yet I haven't found very much information about this online. This is, oh, by the way, the slogan is now the Maritime Malt. It used to be the Mozzanilla Malt, but I guess less and less people know what Mozzanilla Sherry is. The Maritime Malt. So established 1826, and it is the Flotilla, vintage 2010, 10 years old. Now, I'm going to pour this, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the box. For some reason, I think the box is the best thing about this whiskey, and that says a lot about this. So you basically know in what direction we're going here. Now, Old Pulteney, they changed the entire range in about August 2018, and many people, including I, were fairly disappointed. It used to give this awesome 17 and the awesome 19-year-old gone. They have a different range today. They have a 12-year-old, they have a 15-year-old, they have an 18-year-old. They don't have a 21-year-old, but they do have a 25-year-old, and they have some no-name stuff. A Hadart they have a 10-year-old travel exclusive. They have a vintage from 2006 for travel retail. They have a 16-year-old travel retail exclusive. And what they have on the website is the Flotilla 2008 vintage. Now that's very interesting, because when I read the description, it says Old Pulteney Flotillas matured next to the sea, yea, and hand-selected first fill ex-bourbon barrels for 10 years. And this expression is exclusively created for Western Europe. If I read here on the box, it says here, matured next to the sea and hand-selected second fill ex-bourbon barrels. And if I go to the 2005 on the web page, it says aged in hand-selected ex-bourbon barrels. It doesn't even say first fill or second fill, it just says ex. So the 2005 was ex-bourbon, 2008 was first fill bourbon, and 2010 was then second fill. That's a shame, isn't it? So you go from the, okay, I don't know, then you go to the first fill and you go back to the second fill. Our second fill bourbon barrels may be better. If you're going to age for a longer period, 15, 20, 30 years, definitely. You don't want that wood taking over. You need a quiet cask, as Roy from Aquavita always says. But for a 10-year-old spirit, I don't know if you really need a quiet cask or not. So the problem is, of course, the distillery buys the cask. They empty it after 12 years or so. And what do? Do you throw away? No. Do you sell it on the market? Or you reuse it? Yeah. And how do you reuse it? You reuse it and put it into a blend, no problem. If you reuse it and then sell it as a specialized product, this 10-year-old whiskey, bottled at 46%, is 57 euros, at least over here in Germany. That's a lot of money, I think, for 10-year-old whiskey from Old Pulteney. Now, I'm going to read the box here again. So I'm going to get vanilla first, and then I'm supposed to get zesty lemon. Not a big fan of lemon. And then I'm going to get green apple. Not a great fan of apple. And leads to freshly ground spices. I have no idea what type of spices. Toffee and coconut, and a warm, lasting finish with a robust coastal character in this shimmering golden single malt. I hate that marketing blah blah, shimmering golden. All right, so very good. So let's nose it and let's try it, and I'm going to compare it to something. I get a little bit of a briny moment. So seawater, but it's not the beach where it's fresh. It's in a harbor where there's boats. Oh, talking about boats, I did not know this either. So I did know that Vik is a fishing village. No problem there. I do know that there were a lot of herring fishers there. I did know that. And the flotilla is because of all the boats that went out to get the herring. But I did not know that during the 1860s to the 1890s, when a flotilla of as many as 1,000 boats, that's amazing, known as drifters, crowded the harbors during Silver Darling season. That's when the herring came over. The drifters employed around 6,000 fishermen and provided labor for a further 6,000 hands, including the fisher lassies, who gutted, salted, and barreled the herring for export worldwide. All right. And I did know that they made this whiskey for the fishermen and so on, but I did not know that it was a little bit like, it's almost like a festival. I used to live very, very close to a place called Wacken, the heavy metal concert. It started off when I moved there, basically the year they started. They started off with like 600, 800 people, and then it grew up to 80,000 people came there for a 3-day stint, and there were certain shops and industries that lived from those 3 days of the year. They would make their entire profit during those 3 days, and they were set for the rest of the year. Wow, amazing. I'm doing something wrong. I'm working every day and trying to make a good profit out of it. And of course, these people, they came up there, the herrings were, what was it called exactly? The Silver Darling. Okay. The Silver Darling season. And they'd come, and of course, a lot of whiskey was drunk, also consumed during that time. All right, so I promise you something. I promise you the best part about this is the box. Now, they redesigned the box, and I must admit, this fascinates me, all right? So first of all, I tried to open, and it was like, wait a sec. And then it's like, oh, okay, good. And then I really observed, I looked at the box, and there's these tiny little indentations in this box. And you need these indentations because, let's see if I can pull this off. You have this plastic thing in the cap. So the plastic thing has here our little knobbies. And here we also have our nice little thing. So you put this in there, and then it actually hooks in there. It locks itself. I must admit, this box has fascinated me more than this whiskey. Says a lot about the whiskey, or says a little bit about my engineering design. In my personal opinion, the sides are extremely stable, and I just put my hand in here, and it's like, whoops. I think this is something that's not going to be able, I'm not really sure if this is really something I think is enough, but hey, yeah, it's tempting here. I don't know. All right, so I'd like to have a little piece. I don't know. This should be a little bit stronger down below, but they hopefully did some tests, some stress tests on this, and figured out what's going on and what they should use and what they should not use here. So, good. That's the way that is. All right, I'm going to compare this to a Casktype 13 wine. I forgot to mention this as well. This is actually, they use a warm tub. And I knew that, but I did not know that they had a stainless steel warm tub. Did you know that? All right, good. So we're learning together. A little bit Casktype 13 still in my glass from my from my video in German. The 2022 book is coming out now. I'm hopefully will be getting it very, very soon, and I will read it and absorb as much information as I can. I want you just to read this one thing here. It says, as we hopefully know, the distillery is equipped with a stainless steel semi-lauter mash tun with a copper canopy. Okay. There are 7 washbacks made of stainless steel with a fermentation time between 50 and 110 hours. The wash still is equipped with a large boil ball, which we basically see here on the bottle. And this boil ball has a very thick line arm. And both stills use stainless steel warm tubs for condensing the spirit. Around 1.6 liters of alcohol are produced yearly. Maximum capacity at 24/7 is 1.8, so it's running very, very, very often. So we have stainless steel, stainless steel, stainless steel. Easy to clean, but I don't know if that really, really, really improved the flavor profile that we want and that we adore, or we used to really like from Old Pulteney. All right, enough talking. I have to try finally. On the nose, I've talked about this. Yes, I have that brine. Yes, I have that lemon. Yes, I have a little bit of a chalky, woody vanilla moment. Cheers. I'm fairly sure that I can recognize a Craigellachie in a blind tasting. I'm fairly sure I can recognize a Highland Park in a blind tasting. And I'm fairly sure I can recognize an Old Pulteney in an online tasting. There's something special about this that I don't like. Why did I buy this bottle? Well, one of my super fans, those are people who support me, he recommended, hey, Jason, could you buy the bottle and share it? I was like, I don't know. Could you? And I went, okay, good. So I did it. Unfortunately, the bottle share was not as popular as I thought. Maybe they're smarter than me. I only shared about half the bottle. The other half is on my sample list, which people in Germany can look at because I only send within German-speaking countries these samples because of legal reasons and postage reasons. It's a bitter type of astringency. There's some older wood moments here. And I think that's a shame. Remember, the 2008 vintage from the Flotilla had first fill, and this has second fill. They're going downhill. Inverness, what are you doing here with us? And what are you doing with Old Pulteney? You have a magnificent team here making your boxes, creating that. The bottle design is still good. The labeling is still good. Your website looks nice. But the product you're putting out is just not my profile, all right? So, as a comparison real quick. Much better. Wow, I like me some Craigellachie. I must admit that. This is getting a C- for taste, and it's getting it's 57 euros. It's getting a D for value for money. I cannot recommend go out and buy this. I can recommend going out and buying this. This is fantastic stuff. I love the juice of Craigellachie. I can recommend this anytime and any day of the week. 13 years of age. We have also warm tubs, but copper warm tubs. And we also have here our 46%. Very, very, very nice. And very, very enjoyable. So my question of the day is, as I said, I'm a little bit not impressed at the moment with Old Pulteney. What bottling can you recommend that I try? Not the 17, not the 19-year-old, no longer available over here in Europe. Which bottle can you recommend from Old Pulteney that might blow my socks off, that might make me sit up and go, wow, what would you recommend? Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, tell others, and I will see you soon. Whiskey Jason here. Bye-bye.